Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 9th session of this first edition of the Technical MasterTalks. Today, this session will be dedicated to the Department of Engineering in Mineral and Energy Resources. My name is Pedro Barros, a current student of the department, and today I will be moderating this talk. After this talk, we will have some time for your questions, and we will be glad to hear them. Also, we will encourage you to meet us outside in the atrium so we can talk a little bit more about the masters and discuss a little bit about the details of international opportunities, career development, and the support we have here at Technical. So first, I will gladly thank you, Professor, for accepting the invite to be here today with us. Professor Leonardo is an associate professor at the department. And currently, he's also the coordinator of Serena, Center for the Natural Resources and Environment. His main field of research is the development of new methods for computational Earth modeling at different scales, combining geophysics and experimental data science methods. He was also recently honored with 2 international prizes awarded to researchers under the age of 35 years for their contribution in areas related to geophysics and geoscience. We will have now the pleasure to hear a little bit more about this topic, where Professor Leonardo will talk about how can mineral and energy resources can impact the green sector, green energy and digital transition, and also how can we be part of it. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. Thank you, Pedro. So Pedro already said everything, so I don't need to say much about myself. So I would like to acknowledge for the invitation of the school and the department, and congratulate the school for this important initiative, I would say. So it's a pleasure to be here. But as Pedro mentioned, I'm going to do an overview of the research that we do at the department on these areas related to geoscience, geophysics, and computational Earth modeling. But because this was, or I prepared this presentation as to showcase alternatives for your career path, I thought it would be nice to have a little bit of my own career path since I graduated, or since I was an undergraduate student at University of Aveiro. I'm a geological engineering, I have a bachelor in geological engineering and a master in science in geological engineering. Well, the career path is like zigzag because it is up and down, okay? Every day it's an up and down. Sometimes it's an up and down in the same day or hour, I would say. But basically, so I did my my undergraduate studies at University of Aveiro. Then I did some, and I think that is very important and something that I would like to share with the youngest here. I did some summer internships in companies that were very important in my career and in my to build my background and my technological and scientific backgrounds. Then I started my PhD in 2010 here at Technical. I was lucky enough to visit 2 top universities worldwide, Stanford University and Heriot-Watt University, which were critical for the methods that we develop today. And then I started being a postdoc researcher at Serena. I was recruited at IST as an assistant professor, and now I'm an associate professor. But something that I would like to highlight is that my background is very variable. Okay, so there is a focus on geophysics and Earth modeling, but it's variable. I did quite a few different things in my life, and I try to summarize this variability, and this is also the variability that our master programs in the department allow you to pursue. In the future, I highlighted here some of the projects that we have been involved, well, since 2016. One on plastic identification, litter identification in the sea surface using satellite images. A project related to the sustainable groundwater management, coupling data, machine learning, data science, and geophysics. Also, projects related with the ocean characterization, and Ana Filipe is here, and she will be in the presentation as well, I hope, because I have too many slides, I guess. But so we are tackling not only problems and challenges related to the earth and the natural resources themselves, but also with their environmental impact and their sustainability. Okay, this is something that is very important. And I would like to stress, and this is an opportunity for you or for the students of our masters in the department. And also we have quite a lot work developed in line with companies, with geoenergy companies, where they fund scholarships, PhD programs, research programs at the department. The department also hosts two main research centers, Serena and Cerige. Serena is more devoted to natural resources and environment. I'm lucky to serve as coordinator for the time being. And then Cerige, which is a research center related with civil engineering and also sustainability. So the master programs that we have at the Department of Mineral and Energy Resources Engineering try to address or provide you the tools and the framework that you can face and help to solve the problems related with the energy transition, okay? While we are moving very fast and very quickly from a society that was and is still based on fossil fuels, we are moving into green economy, sustainability, sustainable energy and digital transitions. And in all these, or the main key point here when we move from the left to the right is the earth, okay? Are the georesources, and we need to be part of it, an active part of it, and you are the future leaders of this transition, not myself, I'm too old for that, but you are the leaders. And you are gonna drive this transition from left to right, and for the sustainable development, excavation, exploration, development, processing of mineral and energy resources. Okay, it's in your hands, and that's what we try to do with the two master programs that we have, the Mining and Geological Engineering program and the Energy Resources Engineering program, where since the last update on the curricula, we try to not only focus the curricular units on the challenges related with the previous slide, but also increase a lot the computational component of these master programs, as there is no green transition without very large support on digital tools as well, digitalization, automation, and Industry 4.0, okay? So these are the main, I would say, the backbones of our both master programs at the department. Well, the Mining and Geological Engineering is focused on the sustainable development of mineral resources. The Energy Resources Engineering is focused on geoengineering, I would say. The new trends on geothermal engineering, enhanced geothermal systems, carbon dioxide geostorage, hydrogen geostorage, and so on and so forth. Besides that, also in the department, you also have a comprehensive and I would say a large suite of international master programs with top European universities on these fields in mining and energy, and also we have a very strong relationship and collaboration with the China University of Mining and Technology, where we have a dual degree between technical and Kunst, where the student spends 1 year at China in Beijing and then 1 year in technical, and then is graduated in both schools, okay? Also, we recently, and this is probably new for the students, we also signed a new agreement to develop a research center that is half in China, in Beijing, with China University of Beijing and Technical. It's a collaborative laboratory in both places that will grow simultaneously on topics related to artificial intelligence, energy, and climate, okay? And this is also an opportunity for you for research internships, visiting periods, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is what we have to offer to you in terms of international joint master programs. What I would like also to share with you is that we have former students or alumni, as they say today, working worldwide in many different industries, many different companies, in academia, public companies, private entities, and so on and so forth. The major companies on energy and mineral resources, I would say that we do train top energy and mineral leaders worldwide, okay? They have leadership positions in these companies. But we train them, but they reach top positions in these companies and these institutions because, well, we are well known for being awarded, well, our students are well known for being awarded with prizes, international prizes in international competitions, okay? And some of you already participated in these competitions where we are distinguished worldwide. So basically these competitions, what they do or what they ask the students to do is to provide innovative solutions for the sustainable development of mineral and energy resources. Some of you already participated, some of you are participating now. I hope to mentor some of you in the near future to participate in these international programs. They are very important because they expose yourselves to the industry. They are very important to create networking, and they are an excellent opportunity to increase your technical skills in industry software. Okay, so for the youngest, I invite you to speak with David, João, and Gonçalo. They are here. They are participating in Evolve this year, but also we have alumni from these programs, João and Felipe here, and they can share it with you. Okay, so this was a brief overview of everything that happens at the department. As you know, or as some of you know, we are a relatively small department, but very active and very excited to help students and to promote new opportunities and to promote your future, okay? Because we believe in you and we believe that you are indeed the future. Regarding the research that we do at the department, and I'm just gonna look, I'm gonna be biased and I'm gonna look at the research developed with my team of colleagues. So basically we develop, as Pedro said, kindly said at the beginning, we develop methods to model the Earth from a computational perspective, okay, from using a computer if you want. We develop methods in these three main pillars here, artificial intelligence or deep learning, spatial statistics or spatial data science, and high order dimension reduction. So these are the main methodological blocks that we develop, and we develop the codes and the software in these three different scientific fields. And then we apply these methods in different areas, from the mineral to the geoenergy problems to environmental problems. Okay, so it's the same methods applied to different problems, and I must say that we are very good on it as well. I'm a little bit biased, but we are very good at it. Okay, so what we do, so basically when I started my career path on that blue weird blue line that I draw in the second slide, I had this idea and I had this dream of knowing where is below our feet, and that's what drives my main research and the research that drives my group. And at the moment, not only exactly on the subsurface, where is in the subsoil, but also on the surface and in the portion between the sea surface and the sea floor, as we are going to see. Okay, and so that was my main motivation, my main drive, and in the context of the energy transition and the sustainability and the sustainable development goals and so on and so forth, I believe that our role, or if we can better predict what is the subsurface, what is the floor that we are standing on, we are going to be able to speed up the energy transition, but most important, perform it and accomplish it from a sustainable point of view, from a green perspective. But for that, a low carbon or a neutral carbon society in 2030 is our objective. It's going to be very mineral intensive. We need the minerals to develop the technology to produce that energy. Okay, there are no technological advances, at least for the near future, as we can predict it. All these technologies related to the energy transition, they will require large amounts of minerals, okay, and critical minerals, and we need to somehow produce them, and we need to make sure that we produce them from a sustainable point of view, from their origin to the place where we integrate them in the technology, in the circuits, in the boards. Okay, this is very important for me in the entire supply chain of the raw material production. But it's not only, this is a graph, it's a very well-known graph. You cannot see the reference, it's in the bottom, but it's a chart produced by the European Union or the European Commission that says, so you have the mineral, the critical raw materials here in this column, then the risk, the supply risk, and there the technology where they are implemented and required. Okay? For the lithium, for example, we expect to require about more 40% in 2030, if I'm not wrong. okay, more production of lithium. Okay, we need to account for secondary raw materials and the valorization of waste and so on, and that's a very important piece of the puzzle. And we also provide you and the future students with these skills and with these tools, but it will not be, it's not going to be enough. So we need, in my perspective, to develop new projects for the production of raw materials. Okay, going back to the subsurface, what my group does, it's very easy. So it's something related with the echo sound. So we are basically producing, or we are not doing that. We are not acquiring the data, but we gather the data acquired in this fashion. So basically, we propagate a sound wave in the subsurface. It's like an earthquake, but an earthquake that was controlled, that was generated by ourselves, by the humans. So there is a propagation of acoustic waves in the subsurface, in this case in the seawater. Then it goes towards the layers, the geological layers, where are hotspots for the geothermal energy, sweet spots to inject CO2, so they are safely stored in the subsurface, or the minerals, for example. It can be inland or offshore, or in offshore in maritime environment. But we have a source that generates this sound wave. The wave propagates, is reflected back to the surface, and we record it in some receivers, like a microphone, if you want. Then we process the data, and at the end of the day, we have something like this. Okay, we have a 3D-dimensional representation of the Earth in our computers. Okay, this is what we call the seismic reflection data. In fact, what we are seeing here is a representation. We have waves. Okay, so it's a wave with a positive part, a negative part, a period, the frequencies, or multiple frequencies, multiple periods, and so on and so forth. And we need to interpret it from a geological point of view. It can have centimeters, kilometers, very different spatial scales. It depends on the problem that we are addressing and the problem that we want to solve. But this is a typical, I would say, geoenergy seismic volume. Okay, and we have a representation of the Earth. It's like taking a picture of what is below our feet. Well, it can be very high resolution. For example, this is very important when we are developing offshore wind farms. So we want to know exactly how is the seafloor. So this is the seafloor, by the way, this strong red seismic reflection. And then we have layers like sand and other types of sediments. But we can see each one of these lines, let's call it lines, as 10 centimeters, tens of centimeters. So we can see layers of sediments with tens of centimeters of thickness, or we can do seismic to see larger scales, which are much more important, for example, when we are dealing with a geothermal system or with a geostorage prospect. And then our colleagues, geologists, with the geophysicists, they join forces and they interpret the data. And well, I ask pardon for the geologists in the room. It's just a representation, but then we do some interpretation from a geological perspective. We try to understand where are the minerals, where are faults, if it's safe to explore this resource, if it's not safe, where we rank the prospects, what we think it's a target. We rank them in terms of economical value, risk, and so on and so forth, susceptibility. And then, well, the seismic can have the main idea is that you can have very different vertical scales, okay? So we move from 200 meters to 6 kilometers, for example. For those of you that heard about the Brazilian pre-salt, this is a Brazilian pre-salt. The reservoirs offshore Brazil that are below the salt, this is the salt. It's 6 kilometers below the seafloor with a water depth of 4 kilometers, okay? And we have an image of what's going on there, and we're able to drill there safely, I would say. Okay? Well, then we interpret the data because we want to build a geological model. Okay? And we make decisions based on this geological model. Okay? The geological model is just a representation in a computer, a digital representation, where we have the spatial distribution of the geological properties that are relevant for the problem at hand. It can be porosity for CO2 sequestration. It can even be the soil properties if we are dealing with a problem of soil contamination, for example. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. We have a model, a representation of the reality. Okay, and it's very tough to reach one of these models. Okay, and specifically what we do and what we are very good on doing it is to move from a picture, a snapshot of the subsurface, and ask, okay, what are these properties, these geological properties, these the true earth below in the subsurface that are expressed by these seismic amplitudes. Okay, so that's basically what we want. So we move from something like this. I told you that those images were waves, and they are waves, multiple waves, spatially distributed closely, I would say. And this is what we get after the processing, after the interpretation. But what we want as decision makers, as engineers, to make decisions, is a model. Okay, we want to know in X and Y location exactly where is the contamination, the grade of a given mineral, or the porosity, or the contamination grade of in the soil. So basically, our research is moving from what you see as a wiggle, as a wave, into a model. And for doing that, and it's the only equation I bring you today, don't panic yet, we need to solve this equation. Okay, it's just a little equation, but we have been doing this for more than 10 years. Well, I've been doing this for more than 10 years. The department has been doing this for more than 20 years, to be honest. I was just lucky enough to be in a train that was already moving into the right direction. So basically, we want to know this guy, M, which are the rock properties, the porosities, grades, and so on and so forth, from the observed data, the geophysical data that we have. But we have a little problem, is that we don't know, we have no idea about this guy. Okay? We don't know it, so we need to approximate it. And to make it harder, there are an infinity of models that are all different from each other that fit the data that we observe. Okay? So it's basically an inverse problem. It's how is it called? It's nonlinear. There are a set of mathematical characteristics regarding this. I need to speed up. But basically, there are infinite number of models that fit the data that we observe, that can be a solution, that can generate the data that we observe, and we need somehow to sort them and to select the ones that are more geological plausible. Okay? And it's very important to have multiple scenarios, because as a representation of the subsurface, we have uncertainties, and if we fail in the representation of the subsurface, we can make a bad decision. So we need to evaluate the risk, having multiple scenarios and assessing pessimistic, optimistic, and so on and so forth. So as I told you, we've been doing this since 2007 with Professor Milker. We developed a lot of different methods. Some of them are papers, some of them were implemented in companies, some of them were sold. Some of them, Technical receives royalties from them, and so on and so forth. These are some people that used to work or are working with us on these topics. It's not very exhaustive because I was not able to find everybody, but if you are curious about the work, just let me know. Okay, so we started also with seismic, and then now we are using other geophysical methods that I'm not bringing here today. And now we are doing a lot of efforts on using deep learning, not because deep learning is cool, it is, but the main important reason is to speed up the processes and to get more reliable solutions. Okay, and that's so we see the deep learning not as a universal solver for all the problems, but a very good friend of the geophysicists and the geoscientists to make decisions. Okay, to ask questions, and the machine learning can interact with us and probably, hopefully, let us think in a different perspective. So basically what we do is this. So the methods that are in this slide, which is a bit busy, is getting from the observed data into models, different models, all of them are a solution. It's what we call different realizations. And then we assess uncertainties, and then the engineer makes decisions on top of these models. Okay? Some of you will be engineers, some of you will be building these models, some of you will be acquiring the data, some of you will be interpreting, processing the data, and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's it. So I just want to show a little bit of the work that we have been doing with a very specific class of deep learning methods, generative adversarial networks. Basically, this slide is wrong. Forget about the shadow. There is just it's a two different neural networks basically that are training in a adversarial mode in competition to each other, and we are being very successful also to move from the observed data that you have on the bottom into something that is more difficult, which is what we call facies or discrete properties, basically. Mineral X, mineral Y, mineral Z, or sands, shales, or contaminated and uncontaminated soil. It doesn't matter. It's a discrete property, okay? And this is the work from Roberto. He's one of the PhDs that is finishing next month, hopefully. And it's a very top quality work, and we are very, very proud of it. Can I just go 5 minutes more? Because I just want to show something that we have been doing on the side, on the environmental side, if you want, which is related with Ana Filipe is doing, and she is here, so she can correct me if I say something wrong, but is listening the ocean, okay? We are using the same methods to help characterizing better the ocean and the spatial distribution of temperature and salinity of the oceans. And this is very important and very relevant to model, for example, the climate change, and to make forecasting models of what's going on the temperature of the ocean, for example. Okay, so this is a conventional, I would say, ocean model. This temperature is warmer at the surface, colder at the bottom of the ocean. It's not very spatial. It doesn't have a very high spatial resolution. It's a smooth representation. But when you go into the ocean, you know that it's not as smooth. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's warmer. But what we also know, but it's difficult to have it inside our brains, is that the ocean is very large. Okay, it's a vast environment. It's very harsh in the sense that there are waves, big waves. There is a lot of salinity, which salinity is not the best friend of electronics, as you can imagine. But there are very extensive programs to sample the ocean with this, digitizing the ocean basically, and building a digital twin of the ocean. With these Argo floats, but they are 3,000, but if you look at the scales, they are very large. They are very, very far apart of each other. So it's very hard to characterize the ocean. I'm going to jump some slides, but basically what we are doing is using the same kind of geophysical methods where we shoot acoustic source. So we generate a sound in the ocean, and then we receive the energy that is reflected at contrasts when you have differences in temperature. Okay, so when you have water masses and the temperature changes, there is a reflection, and then we get beautiful images like this one. So this is the seafloor. Now we are looking above the seafloor, not below the seafloor, and this is what is going on with two different water masses, one from the Mediterranean Sea, and so the Mediterranean Sea should be somewhere in the middle here. Then we have the North Atlantic at the top and the bottom, like a capsule enveloping the Mediterranean Sea water. And this is what we call an eddy, is a vortex of the water mixing. It happens also in the atmosphere. And I think we developed really nice work. As Filipe just won an award for youngest oceanographer. I don't know the name, but she was distinguished with the best work of the year by the National Oceanography Association, and she's a mining engineer, by the way. And that's it. So we are studying. She did a very nice contribution to the study of the Madeira Abyssal Plain, what's going on the ocean around the Madeira, which is not very known. Now I'm sure that we are going to do a very good contributions and nice contributions for the Gulf of Cadiz in the south of Portugal. And that's basically it. So also as a part of PhD, NS PhD, we also convert an image, a snapshot of the ocean. Okay, so this is the snapshot of the ocean into temperature and salinity basically. And you can see, if you remember the other model that was smooth, here we can see differences and spatial variations, and it's a high resolution image when you compare with the other models. So on my side, that's all. I'm very happy to be here, and if you have any doubts, contact us. We are very happy to receiving you and to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. So thank you for such an informative and interesting talk. We will start now the time for some questions, and personally I have one myself. So for those students who are looking forward to do some work like you mentioned here, what would be your best advice for technical information, or how do we prepare ourselves so we can be able to do a little bit of what you're doing? And
So well, that's a tough question to answer on a concise and in 2 minutes, let's say. So I would say that you are prepared because you are in an excellent school and you have very strong and strong scientifically and technical bachelor and master programs in the department and in the school in general. But the best way to start working on these projects or in other projects from other professors is to contact them, to go knock at the door. Look, I want to start learning what you do. And then the professor, I'm sure, that he or she will be very happy to start integrating in a research project and delivering few tasks. And then if you succeed accomplishing those tasks, most likely we will find ways of supporting for a studentship, and then it starts like that. Okay.
Perfect.
So the first time I started my scientific career because a professor needed some help to carry some boxes. Okay. Perfect. And I said yes, I will help. And 15 years later, I'm here.
Perfect. There you have such a
so that's it.
A good example.
So you just need to don't be afraid of asking and interacting with your professors. We don't bite eventually. Sometimes we do.
Thank you. So is anyone with a doubt or a question? No? Professors?
Don't be shy.
Okay, so one has a question.
Yeah.
So, Leonardo, thank you for your great presentation. I would like to ask you, what is the importance for you do especially computational geophysics and geosciences, and what is the importance of the training of our students for the application, or are our students prepared to apply all of these techniques that you use, these advanced techniques, especially deep learning, so on and so forth? I would like you to clarify this to our students.
From my experience, I would say so, yes. No, the students are ready because they are able to think, right? And the most important thing is to understand the problem, think about the problem, find a solution for the problem. Okay, but you are not alone. We don't live in islands, so you can interact with your peers, with your colleagues, with the professors. But thinking about the solution, and then the implementation side, that's the easiest part. Okay, if you identify the problem and the potential solution, then we just need to implement it, and you have all the tools to implement those solutions, being in a lab experiment or a computational software or whatever it is. It's the easiest part. Okay. The students from Técnico that have a bachelor from Técnico, you do have all the basic background on programming, which is, I think it's very important to manipulate data, large amounts of data, to manipulate data that is coming in real time from sensoring, for example. All of you know how to do that. The students that reach Técnico to do the master for the first time, they learn those skills during the master. Okay. And we have some examples here, and we have been very successful with all kinds of students. So, yes.
Perfect. So, if there is any other question, I would then say that thanks once again for having this opportunity to talk a little bit more about the masters. It was such a good experience, and now we would say it's the end of this session. We will have another one, which will be the 10th, the master talk about civil architecture and environment department, which will be in the 6th of June. And yeah, we hope to see you there too. And now we gladly invite you to gather around in the atrium so we can discuss a little bit more about the the projects. We are part of it, and yeah, let's make it a good time now. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you all.
And once again, thank you all.